So in today's video, I'm going to be running through properties live online, and I'm going to actually try and find a deal in this video, mainly a flip deal. However, there's a few things that I want to note just before we get started. Firstly, this is done at complete random, which I'm going to show you in a moment. And if you enjoy these kind of videos, please do let me know below, or if there's anything else that you need me to help you with. Secondly, there's probably a 1% chance of actually finding a deal live today. But hopefully the thought process around what we're going to do in a few moments will help you at least understand how you can analyze a potential deal. And finally, I'm also going to run through some things that subscribers have asked me as well in relation to finding good deals. So let's get to it. What's going on, everyone? My name is Aaron, aka The Anxious Investor, and welcome back to the only property channel that will teach you 100% free information to save yourself on the mistakes that I've made and also help you learn everything you need to get yourself started in property. Now, I'm going to jump straight into this one and open up my property websites. Okay, so we're going to start with the following tabs open. Now, I'll explain quickly why. So, random postcode generator, just so you guys don't think I've randomly chose my favorite postcode, so I've got no idea what it's going to choose. Rightmove, I just opened a few tabs. So one is for sales, one is for rent, and then the other one is when I look at the house price comparisons afterwards. The same as Zoopla, I've got two open there. I also use Streetchecker as well because I think it's important that you work with the end in mind. So for example, it's always good to have two exit strategies. If you were going to try and flip a property, which we're going to try in this example here, worst case scenario, if you can't flip it, you're going to need to refinance it to obviously pull some of your money back out or save the investment, especially if you bridge it. So this is good because it'll tell you about the demographics and the type of tenants there, and basically a little bit more about that kind of place. And I think this is really, really important. So yes, you're going to get great yields in certain areas of the country, but is it safe? And I mean that respectfully, because some of these areas, and this is just what I've been told, is yes, you can get high yields, but the chances of ever getting rent are very, very low in terms of the tenants actually paying. So the last thing I want you guys to do is think you've got a deal because the numbers work, but then actually the tenant profile isn't great. And then we've got council tax. So this is just for like plugging in numbers. Again, it's just a very useful tool just to kind of understand what the council tax is. And then obviously the most important tab, which is our superfood health blends, which you guys get 10% off if you type FYV10 at the checkout. And it's probably more important than all the property stuff I'm talking about. So if you're interested in that, make sure you check that out as well. I mean, look how cool that looks. So anyway, let's go back to here. Now, very quickly, my laptop is having a mare, so hopefully you guys can still hear me. So if there's a little bit of a buzzing sound, I do apologize, but there's no way I can get rid of it. I literally press record and it just starts singing. So anyway, let's jump to this. So we're going to create a random postcode and we are in S64 8AF, which, well, I have no idea. So the first thing we're going to do is throw this into here and click for sale. We can also do it here for rent and here as well. So yeah, it's a little bit tedious, but it's always worth doing from the start. I'm just going to explain some parameters that we're going to use as well. So we're going to look for a flip. Now I'm going to go up to a purchase price of 100K. So either you've got that cash, the lucky ones of you, or you need 20 to 30%, roughly speaking, of a deposit, and then you can bridge this. Now, I've done a video on bridging if you want to go check that out on the channel as well. Now, generally speaking, so £25,000 could probably get you started for this kind of flip. Now, we got to understand that if we buy something, let's say ceiling of £100,000, we need to make £20,000. So we add 20,000 straight away. But then we've got all the costs, such as the initial costs, the holding costs, and then obviously the renovation as well. So ideally, we want to be looking at something circa, I don't know, 140, 150, just as a general rule of thumb. So we're going to try that when we get started. Okay, now I've just quickly updated it and I've saved you guys a few minutes. So I've done it within 3 miles because sometimes we don't always find something in that particular area. We've gone up to £100,000. We're looking at 2 to 3 bedroom houses, which is probably a good place to start flipping houses. Property type, obviously houses. So I've done this for all of these, as you can see, and I'm literally just going to press search now. Okay, so we're back on. So straight away, you've got featured properties. Now I'm going to quickly explain what that means. A featured property, generally speaking, is somebody who's paid a little bit extra to their agent. So the agent is Merryweather's here to list it straight away. So it's a bit like a Google or Facebook ad. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but it could, and it potentially could mean that they're more eager to sell a little bit quicker. I've done this previously on my residential home, so something to think about there. 90,000. Okay, that's fine. 100,000. Now, guide price, as I've explained a few times, is something at an auction. So generally speaking, it rarely goes for that actual price. So just be a little bit wary about that. Now, offers in the region of means that obviously you can offer 105, 110, 90, 95. You have a bit of a scope. So that's fine there. I'm just going to literally click one of these, and what we're going to do is run with it for an example. Now, what I'm actually looking at here is I look at this, and this looks pretty nice. It looks renovated inside. The same process with this one here. I'm trying to look for something that looks slightly outdated, and I mean that with respect. Okay, so we've got a premium listing here. So as we know, they're probably looking to sell it a little bit quicker, or they're happy to have it pushed up on the ranking page. So we're going to go with this one, which is a 3-bed semi-detached house for sale in Mexborough. And you've just got to love the marketing here, not to be missed. Well, we're not missing it. So let's jump in. Okay, so it's a semi-detached. It's got floor plans. Double glaze, good stuff. EPC to be confirmed, interesting. Just open the floor plan, just have a quick look. So yeah, your standard 3-bedroom house, little box room, master bedroom, second bedroom, bathroom, and then the photos. So these are my favorite kind of properties. So I'll explain why. Because it looks, at least from the onset, that there is a lot of value to be added. It looks like not much has really been done in terms of bringing it up to a modern day standard, which is fantastic, by the way. So I'm guessing this is potentially an elderly or disabled individual here living here. The garden looks very, very well maintained, much better than mine. So, okay, £100,000. Now we're going to pretend that we can offer within £100,000 for this particular example. It was a 3-bedroom semi-detached. Okay, so we're looking at rents as well. Now, you don't have to do this as a first step. This could always be done after, but it's the next tab. So let's just do it now. Brilliant. So there's no comparables here, which is useful. So we've got 2 bedrooms. Okay, so 2-bedroom semi-detached rent for 625, 595. So the chances are you can probably get a little bit more than that. So let's just hold fire on that for a moment. So the next step we're going to do is look at the comparables within that particular area. So we're going to search, we're going to increase the radius here. So obviously the further out you go, the less the comparables are accurate. So you want to try and get something as close as possible. But just for this purpose of this one, we'll go 3 miles because obviously we knew nothing was in that particular area. And I mean, what would be great is if we can find the exact postcode for this one. Here it is. So it's slightly different. So I think when we initially put that postcode in for this one, it came as a 3-mile radius. So actually we might find something. Brilliant. Okay, so the only comparable that we have is this, which was in 2011, which was a very, very long time ago. So we're just gonna increase it to 1 mile. Fingers crossed, guys. Okay, brilliant. So we are looking for a 3-bedroom. So 2 bedrooms, 2 years, semi-detached. Okay. So there are some decent prices here. I'm just trying to find, okay, brilliant. So we have one here for 3-bedroom semi-detached, and it sold for 172. Brilliant. We've got another one, 172 freehold. They look like nice houses from the outside. 3-bedroom, 170. Not sure how many rooms that one is, but we can always click it. Okay, so let's just say 170. Now, please do obviously go through more of them, write them down into a spreadsheet, work out an average as well, just to kind of give yourself some indication of what are they selling for. Also, make sure that you check the exact location of this in comparison to the comparables that you have. So for example, in certain areas, as you may well know, some houses on a particular road are worth more than the ones on adjacent roads. So that's really important to know as well. However, if there's no comparables online that a surveyor can find out, then they will use the ones that come up. So it can work in your favor as well, but you need to make sure that you're looking at everything as much as you possibly can. That doesn't make sense, guys, drop me a comment down below and I'll try and help you there. So for this particular one, the first thing obviously you have to do is view the property. Do not go solely off what you're seeing online. It's impossible to calculate how much this will cost as a renovation. Now we know the windows are fine, but if I was going to run in, you're looking at a 3-bedroom house, plastering, probably a brand new rewire, looking at it, gas central heating, updating, brand new kitchen. Now the kitchen doesn't look too big.
Looks quite similar to a house that I've got myself. Standard side bedrooms, I'd probably take this back and plaster it, just nice finish. I'm not sure what the ceilings are like. Brand new carpets in. You don't really need to do much landscaping there. I'd probably change a little bit of this front. So I don't know, let's just say £16,000 for this particular one. Now, the next step is to open the deal analyzer, which I'm going to do now. Now, hopefully you're all with me. This is the first time I've ever done something like this, so hopefully it makes a bit of sense. So we're going to say the purchase price, we're just going to keep it 100 for now. Stamp duty, so that automatically calculates it. Now, obviously, we know there's a bit of a holiday with that at the minute. Now, solicitor and broker fees, I can probably get it for about that for this particular type of property if I was just going to purchase it outright. But if you're using a bridging company, for example, i.e. Together Finance, for example, who are going to loan you the rest of it, there will be fees added. So I'd probably double that, because generally speaking, you've got to pay like 2 solicitor fees as well. Broker fee might be slightly more, but let's just keep it as that. Now, sourcing fee, there is not a fee because we found it ourselves. Renovation costs, we're going to go in 16,000. That's just based on the kind of prices that I've managed to do a similar one for. Now, again, when you see it, ideally try and take a builder with you, or if you're experienced enough, you'll probably know what to do. But let's just say 16. There's a 10% contingency already added in, 1,600, and then finance costs. So the finance costs run off here. So how long does this project take? Now, it looks pretty straightforward. I can't imagine there's anything structural there, or that will come up in a survey and probably cause them problems trying to sell it. So from here, we're going to say 6 months. And the most important one is the estimated revaluation here. So here we're going to throw 170,000. So the council tax, again, you can find out what the council tax is within that area. Literally Google search it with the postcode. Now, remember we were looking for roughly £20,000 profit. And what I mean by that is gross profit. So obviously we're not taking into account our time or anything. Looking at this, roughly speaking, it looks like a deal. Now, I wouldn't just go and offer on this, even though that is a lot more than 20,000. I'd want to dive more into the comparables. I want to make sure that there's something very close to it that has sold in a done up condition that doesn't look like it needs work for 172, to really have that level of confidence that actually this could work. But on the back end, I think we've landed on something pretty decent here. So what you can do now is play around with this. You can literally say 2, 3, you can afford to probably go in with 110,000. In fact, you could probably make a lot of mistakes, which many of you will make, and I mean that respectfully. No matter how experienced you are, we always make mistakes, or shall I call them learn lessons, on each and every one of our projects. So even if you spent £20,000 on this, you purchase it for £110,000, we take into account all of the finance and contingency costs for 6 months. Let's just call it 9 months, because the builders ran away and you've had a nightmare like how I've had a nightmare. Your total holding costs would come to around 30,000. You've got exit fees, worst case if you have to refinance it. But remember, if you don't refinance it, you still have to pay solicitor fees. So that's why I keep them there, because the principle is still the same. Your gross profit, if flipped, is 23,268. Now, of course, if the purchase price exceeds 100,000, you need that extra amount of money in order to purchase it. Now, imagine if you can't flip it and you can't make this £20,000. Let's just say it's not a buyer's market. Now, how you find out if it's a buyer's market is you speak to local estate agents and you find out how quickly our house is selling. You also look on Rightmove and Zoopla and look at the recently sold ones, so subject to sale or what's actually sold. If you're not seeing much information there, it just might not be that kind of area where house buyers are moving into, for example. But again, speak to an estate agent. Now, remember I said we're looking at the rent, and there's a reason for that. So we said 625 for a 2-bedroom, and that looks really nice, but that's the kind of quality you can get for the renovation that we spoke about. I'm just going to see if Zoopla has something different. Now, the reason I use both is you'll find different stuff on different ones. Now, Rightmove is the biggest portal, but Zoopla also has sometimes the odd property that may not actually be on Rightmove, so it's always good to have both. I'm just going to narrow this down now, because we know we've got a 3-bedroom. We also know we've got a house. Fingers crossed, 625. I think, again, I'm guessing and I need a lot more information, but 650 for a 3-bedroom, end of terrace. 650 is very, very conservative, but we'll just go with 650 now, because that's the only number we have. And I suppose it's better to be safe than sorry. So we're going to throw in 650 here. Now, mortgage payments for this is done on a 25% deposit left in. So that would be 42,500. Your mortgage will be 127,000, and I've just done it at 3%. Again, find out what the mortgage is. Now, your ROI, which is the most important number here, is 25%. Now, what that means is, if we use the bridge, for example, and we use 25% deposit, based on this calculator, we would have put in £146,731.92. Our total money out would be 127,500. Now, what this is effectively the bank. So the bank will come up to you. So you buy this property with cash. I'm just going to pick up this random Monster account. You buy this with cash. You then do it up and you take away all the nasties. So now it looks brand spanking new, ready to go. You then go to a bank and say, hey guys, everything's selling for £170,000 on this road. We now believe this is worth 170,000 because we spruced it up. Fantastic. Bank over here, wave your hand, says, brilliant, we'll give you that, but we need you to leave some money in. Brilliant. So you're happy to leave 25% in, they'll loan you 75%. And that 75% is 127,500. So when they loan you that, because you bought it with cash or an investor or however you purchased it, they will give that either to yourself or to the bridging company. So for example, if you've got a bridging loan here, they will pay that bridging loan back and almost take over. So a refinance, effectively, you're taking over another loan. So this bank will replace that bank. Now, if you've got no bank in the first instance, you're getting paid that money. It's going straight into your account, which means you'll leave in 19,000, and the return on investment based on that rental income. And I've done it on a cash flow here. So the cash flow here, sorry if I'm speaking fast, drop it in the comments if I've gone over this too quickly. But your cash flow here, I've done it with 10% voids and maintenance. Most often or not, we're seeing people talk about their profit, but they're not accounting for voids and maintenance. So based on £400 per calendar month you're making off that property, if you rent it out, our return on investment is 25%, which effectively means over the year, we would have made 25% of our money left in this back. So in 4 years' time, i.e. 25% times 4 equals 100%, we get 100% of our money back. Hopefully that made sense. Rewind that if you need to, or drop it in the comments down below. So that is pretty much that. Now, of course, I said make sure you check on Streetchecker here. Check your council tax as well. Make sure you check on here the actual postcode. Let's see if it comes up. Brilliant. So my computer's crashed, but it explains the type of houses, people. Oh, brilliant. It has. So there's more women there. Age groups, it shows the culture, the employment, the crime. Now you can click this, an advert's going to come up. See that? I've done this too many times. So yeah, it tells you the kind of crimes. So I'm not sure what you want to do with that information, but I think it's just useful to know, because if there's a lot of drugs, for example, or I don't know, antisocial behavior, for example, do you really want to be living there? Maybe this is a house for yourselves that you want to buy, do up, refinance, and then live there. That works as well. So that's pretty much where I'm going to end this. Again, I could go into so much more detail. Maybe I'll run these kind of live streams later down the line if you guys find it useful, but that's some thought processes. But what I need you guys to do now is ask any questions in the comments down below so I can get back to you and help you with that information.
Okay, so if you made it this far, hopefully you got some insight into the thought process. It was a lot more difficult in hindsight trying to explain it and do it, as usually it's kind of just second nature and one of the things that I do. But there's some final points that I really need you to take note of. Number one, make sure you get at least 3 quotes of work before you move on a project like this. Number 2, ensure that you have all your figures correct and also know how you're going to buy it, because that will determine your actual cost. 3, have a maximum offer in place and don't budge on that. For example, we could have gone maybe up to 110k on this particular one, but you don't want to end up in a bidding war and end up spending 130k, because that's basically going to chip away at all your profit. Number 4, make sure you get local information from estate agents about the prices they could sell it for, and letting agents for the prices that they could rent it for. Number 5, don't rely solely on Zoopla price estimates like this. You see, some of them are okay, but some are just far too generic, as you can see from this. So you want to be looking at comparables as close to the building type and location as possible, and mix that information with information you got from the agent. And 6, don't forget to smash the hell out of that like button and make sure you subscribe if you just tuned in. So until next time, thank you so much for watching, and now it's our favourite time of the show to watch those bloopers.